We are going to just take 10 minutes for the presentations. We already did a waiting room. So guys, in the next class, if you come early to the class, we are going to create a room inside the game in which actually we can play and know each other a little bit better before starting the class. So just to let you know, guys, okay? Um, Also, as some of you were having like these questions yesterday, are going to just take a quick look to the miniature creations, okay? So to create advanced creations, miniatures like the speed pads that you see the last class, okay? Yeah, just by continuing with the class, we also are going to learn how to set up the basic rules for starting our game. I'm going to provide you also a refresher about the concept creation. And finally, we are going to create the finish line and the initial points because they are going to be very important for this, okay? So, for building the checkpoints, we also are going to do some basic job. Most of them is going to be just building. We are not going to touch yet any like a specific trigger. And we are going to enhance your map with some details, like make the map look a little bit more professional. Now, some point that I want to just get with you guys first is about the concept, okay? So remember that last class we were talking about the concept. I just want to show you some specific exercise. It's very interesting. This exercise was made by Nanda Play. Nanda Play is another teacher, and I just copy her exercise because I think it's very interesting, okay? So here is a quick look about how my game is going to look by the concept, okay? As you see here, guys, we have different themes on there, or different topics, all right? So the theme is going to be space racing. Let me show you in the meanwhile also the game, just for the ones that didn't come to the last class. On this one, we choose to do a science fiction map in which actually you can choose different cards and you are going to have some spells and some skills based on science fiction, okay? So as you see here, those are going to be the skins for our cards. And just by moving back to the presentation, as you see, the theme is going to be space racing. The game genre is going to be racing card game. You need to do this exercise also, guys, in your end. And it's very important for you guys to do this exercise because it will allow you to know what you are going to do to play in your map, okay? Um, okay, let me see, I see. Okay, so moving back from the concept, please take a pencil and take just, you can use any kind of paper, something similar. I need you to take note of this and please fill the information. So remember, we are going to have a theme. Choose the one for your map. Okay. You can use any of them. Remember that you can use a medieval theme as an example, in which case you can use some skills with magic, or you can use a modern card game. Just take the time to fill this information, okay? So the art style is something related about how your map is going to look. In my case, I choose cyberpunk, that is going to be related with a futurism, in which actually technology goes for the wrong way, so everything is not in the best situation for that kind of world. Science fiction, because we are going to use all the skills based on science. For the characters, don't think the characters as a person. I personally use my ships, my spaceships as characters for this one. So just choose yours, choose the best, which actually goes better for you. And very important, the scenario is the area or the situation or the world in which actually is going to take place your game. In my personal one, I choose a space station. As you see here, everything is based on a space station. So let me show you a quick view. So as you see, there's some stars on there. There is no space around. And yeah, there is a central part that is going to have some lights. So pick yours. As you probably see in the previous class, some players pick up like an Egyptian actually theme. So remember to take the time to choose the right one, okay? So for the differential, that's very important, guys. I need you to choose something that is going to make your plan or your map special. In my case, as I'm very good at making scripts, that's going to be my differential. In yours, guys, I want to know, or I want just you for just take enough time to think, what could make your map different from the other games? As an example, as you see in Miniware, there's a lot of people making games related with Among Us, and as you see, guys, all looks like the exactly same way. So you cannot see a difference between each map, and with that you are going to get another map on the group of maps. You are going to be like noise for the players. So I need you to choose or think in something that is going to make your map special. As an example, we have a lot of maps that could be for first-person shooter, but Overwatch, as an example, to use the system to choose heroes as make a differential between other games. Or, as an example, Team Fortress use the I don't know how you can call it, but the comic theme to just make the game a little bit funner and just get different from another normal games that are more realistic. So think on that part very well. Okay, and yeah, Star Wars is going to have a good theme. The characters could be the spaceships, as you already think. As a scenario, you can choose as an example a planet like Tatooine or another planet from the game that may look cool for you. Also, it's going to be nice to have some skins about the Republic or the Rebels. It's going to be very nice to have those specifics. So I think it's a good idea. If any of you have another idea, just let me know in the comments, okay? Okay, so focusing again in the class, what does or what is a target group? So just imagine that you want to get some money or you want to get a lot of downloads from your game. You need to think in which is going to be the target group for that one. And when I mean target group, I mean who is going to play it and who is going to get your skins or buy your things inside the game. As an example, MiniWord is a game that is designed for teens, young adults, and children. So you cannot solve this or show the same thing for a specific game to a person that likes I don't know. Let me place an example with music. Imagine that you are going to do a music game and you want to solve it or make this music game be played for a lot of people that likes I don't know. Let me think about a music genre, electronic music. Okay, so if you create a music game that actually is going to be using metal instead of electronic music for the electronic people is not going to even download it and is not going to play it because they don't like the metal. So you actually probably will need to design an electronic music game instead of a metal game. And that's like just something that you need to take or think about when you are going to make a good game. Your game can be very great, but if it's not created for the right people, no one is going to play it. So think about it. You want your game to be played by children. Probably you cannot use too many advanced functions. Probably you are not going to be able to use math for it or advanced concepts. If you're going to do it for adults, you cannot use like cute things because it's going to be a little bit odd for them. If you're going to do it for teens, probably you need to know what's move them. So think about it, think about how you can choose the right target group. Also think about the language. So if you are going to do a map in English, it's probably only going to be played by people who know English. So think that's another way in which you actually can create a target group. And think a way in which actually you can get money for your map. In my case, here you can see that I'm using the way to get some money from it by buying skins, by getting some extra items. So we can say that is to pay to start. What does it mean? It doesn't mean that you are not going to get a real advantage if you paid in the game. What you are going to get is just looking cooler if you get some extra skins. There are a lot of ways to get that, and you can search in Google if you want to know more about this, about monetization. Just check it out. There's a lot of ways to get your map to get some money for you. Okay, so I think we are over with this theme. Now let me show you something else about this specific concept. So moving next, we are going to just move again, and let me show you in the presentation the next slide, and it's going to be this, the concept one, okay? So in the concept one, you are going to see some images that I pick up from internet to create my game. As you see, as an example, you can see the third image is very similar to the cards that I create inside the game. So let me move again to the mini world screen. Hi back, guys. So now you can see me again, huh? So yeah, on here, as you see right there, there are some cards that you can choose as a skin. And if you see the second image, the third one, sorry, are going to be the cards. Yeah, that's actually the difference. So yeah, pay to win is going to be when you actually get some extra power ups for paying, and pay to style is going to be very similar. The difference is that you're going to just have cool skins instead of that, which actually is not going to provide you any advantage. It's just a visual part. But yeah, just moving back to the class, as you see here, those are going to be like the inspiration that I take for doing the map. Uh, and as you see on here, there are not the same ex- just the same models are going to be different. Actually, I'm going to say that they are not very similar, but it's something that I say, oh, okay, so there are some ideas here that may work in my map, like the station, like the space, like the visuals, and you can use that tool just to get some of them, okay? I use Pinterest. You can search in Google for that. It's like a social network that allows you to save some images. You can find almost any kind of information on there. So as the last class that we left, remember that we create some basic textures for the floor, right? So yeah, here is an example, but I'm going to teach you very quickly how to do that and how to do advanced miniature, okay? So first, we are going to use this one. This is going to be the tool that we use for most of them. We also have some other important tools that we are going to do or use for this specific part of the system. It's going to be the painting. Actually, it allows you to choose any color to create your miniatures. The terrain editor, that is going to speed up the process a lot. If you didn't know how to use it, I highly recommend it to learn how, because you can save hours of work with this one, okay? The second one is going to be the custom model editor, which actually we are going to use to edit the advanced settings. And finally, but not least, probably we are going to use this one, okay? Because I'm going to teach you how to do two different models, and basic models and advanced models for the game, okay? So as you see, when we place a miniature workbench, we are going to have those lines. This is the space in which actually we can create our map. So we are going to start by creating the first texture that is going to be just a simple texture for the floor. What does it mean? We are not going to do um, a complete cube. We are just going to do a simple texture that players will be able to can check, or like it's over the floor and notice like a new block, okay? So you need to switch to the select mode on here. For that you can use tab or you can use this button. Once you are in the select mode, you are going to select two spaces starting from the floor, two blocks I mean, and you are going to select side to side. Once we have that, we are going to choose to fill, that is going to be the first option, and later we are going to choose the block that we want to fill this space with. So I highly recommend it to you to use or the wool blocks or the sand blocks, okay? Why? Because with Painter we can change the color. I know that there are a lot of blocks on it, but it's going to be really hard to change the blocks. It's going to be easier just to use color blocks, okay? Choose any kind of background. I personally choose this one. It's not too dark, it's not too light, and it's a neutral color, so I'm going to use this one, okay? Once you select that one and choose complete, it's going to just fill the space. With that, you can release this, okay? Next, we are going to select a part on the floor, just one block, and we are going to select the other part. Remember to left one space around because we are going to use that space as a frame. And then we are going to choose the second one. That is going to be the delete tool. And yeah, it's done. As you see here, guys, we have deleted all the information or all the blocks inside this, and we are going just to keep a frame. We are going to do a simple texture. I don't know which kind of texture you want to have on here, guys. So let me do a simple one. As this is going to be only a demonstration, we are going to use a slow down texture, okay? So we are going to choose just some lines that are going to work from side to side. Remember that I'm just doing a demonstration because we are not going to have enough time to complete the process, okay guys? So just for speed up a little bit the process, we are going to use a simple textures, but you can use the painter to get more shadows like the previous blocks that I create and I showed you guys, like this, well, not this one, but the other ones that I showed you yesterday. So they are actually having more than one color. But for this one, we are just going to create a simple texture. Remember that this is not going to be a full block, it's just going to be a texture for the floor. And what it's going to do, this specific block, is just to reduce the speed from the player. So players will need to avoid to hit this block, okay? As you see, guys, the texture that I'm doing right now is not too complicated, it's a simple one, okay? But take the time and also think about which texture you want to use for the speed pads or for the other ones. Okay, so we are almost finishing here. Just to give a nice look, I'm going to use the same color for the sides. For this, just choose the painter tool, that is going to be the first one. Use the change current color button, or choose, if you are in computer, just use the reload key and then choose the color. And yeah, you can have some problems while you're painting because this tool that I'm using is a modified one. It's going to be a little bit more accurate. The default one is going to have some issues when you try to just find. Sometimes it paints the wrong block, but yeah, you can work with that one also. It's going to take a little bit more of work, but this one is going to be a little bit more faster. And as you see, we did a simple thing, okay? Right now, what we are going to do is we are going to create the basic texture. For this, I'm going to get enough space, okay? And yeah, just name it. Very important because sometimes we choose a random name and in the future probably you are going to have some problems trying to find your miniature. So right now, as you see, it's a normal block. It's not something special, it's just something that is going to be pretty simple, okay? What we are going to do is going to do an advanced edition. So that's the normal block that you are going to get when you use the miniature workbench, but we are going to edit that one, okay? For this, we are going to use the model editor, that is going to be this cube, place it on the floor and then select it. Once we have selected, you have to choose this specific folder, that is the open folder one. And on there, you need to choose the last texture that we create, that is that one. Be sure that it's the same. And yeah, right now it's not doing anything special. We just open it. What we are going to do, you are going to select that specific figure, that specific miniature, And we are going to reduce this axis. That is going to be the y-axis. And yep, select 2 or 3 times, the times that you see. Be sure that the gray part is going to be hiding under the floor. And yeah, there you have it. Also, you can increase the size, which actually I didn't recommend, but for now, let's export that one. Remember to name it. Save here as a block, and if you want to give a description, it's okay. I'm not going to do it. And yeah, we have that one now. So as you see, in comparison of the previous one, this is going to look like a texture in the floor, which actually you can place anywhere, and it's going to look nice because it's just going to look like something that is painted in the floor. So yeah, that's how you can create the advanced textures for the floor. That actually was something that we do on the last class. So now, moving to the advanced techniques to create those miniatures, there's another way that you can create some specific textures that would look like an LCD panel. So let me show you an example here. Okay. So let me show you this specific block that I create. This one, if you see it, is animated, but also is completely transparent. The opacity is low, so you can actually look through it. So let me show you. Yeah, you see, you can look through it. So I'm going to teach you how you can create those blocks too. So just moving, we are going to use the same example. Instead of this, we are going to use glass, okay? And you may think, oh, okay, so you only need to use glass. That's true, but if you use this workbench, this glass is not going to work. Let me show you the example. Okay, so to replace those blocks that we select, we only need to hit on this one that says that there are the 2 arrows. And with that will allows you to choose a specific model or block and switch it to any one that you want. So select the one that you want, and there you go. You choose everything. So let me show you what will be the result if right now I choose to just to create a block with those one, okay? So let me keep some space here. And yeah, let me do this. Okay, so right now we have again the new block, but if you see, we actually do anything, it's just the same. That is disappointing, right? And that's because this block, this specific miniature workbench is not going to accept any transparency. So for actually doing or making it look like it's a LCD panel or something similar, we are not going to use this one. We are going to use the other one, the one that is used to create guns or something similar. So be sure that the actually ones that you create covers all the sides.
Okay, guys, welcome to the fun.
Okay, so just give me a second and let me show you now how it works. And check the difference, guys. Oh, actually we cannot use this one too right now, but we are going to just create an advanced model, just like the technique that I showed you before. But instead of this one, we are going to use the model that we just create with the advanced miniature. And look at this, guys. This is going to look much, much better. The only problem is that we need to just be sure that it's going to select all the sides. That was my mistake, but you know how to fix it, guys. Just choose the right one. And let me show you now how it's going to look in the floor. And as you see, guys, we have a transparent texture that can go on the floor. So that's how you can create those advanced blocks, okay? So as you see, all of those blocks are going to be just in this, using the same technique that I just showed you. They look like something that is being drawn on the floor and not something that is over the floor. So that's why we need to do that, okay? With the setup rules, okay? So this is, or those are the basic setups that I have for my personal map, guys, but for your map, you can choose yours, okay? Um, Quick explanations about everything, okay? Why we are going to choose win mechanics? Because we want to know how we are going to make the game to work. I have seen a lot of maps which actually have a cool mechanics, but players left this part from the end. So actually you cannot win. The win mechanics are going to be boring. So first thing, choose which kind of win mechanics you have. In this case, it's going to complete certain amount of laps. You can choose any amount of laps, but also you can choose, I don't know, if the first one to race the finish line is going to be the first one to win, or if the player who goes more kills is the one who actually is going to win, okay? Second one, important before entering into the edition, select how many players are going to play for this one. Why? Because if you choose more than 2 players, which is actually the recommended one, some players are going to be bored and are going to be actually very bored. Why? Because you have to wait, and it's boring to wait. Imagine that you have 3 players at least to start. You are going to have you and your friend waiting around 20 minutes to just for any player to join. And if you don't have a friend, probably a player is going to join but he's going to be bored because no other player is entering and is going to exit you from your map, and it's not going to be the best way to have it. So okay, so moving next, from the time, choose unlimited time because we want not the game to end in the middle. Damage should be known, so we don't want the players to damage the others. Even if we are using some items, the items are going to slow down the players, we're not going to kill them. The fall damage needs to be off, because if the player falls, we don't want the player to be killed. The blocks needs to be indestructible, as you want to choose teams. This is a difficult decision. I personally choose no, because for my map I don't need it, but if you want to do a team racing, it's going to be interested. Okay, and yeah, 2 last things, please don't. And this is very emphatic, guys. I'm going to just get closer to the camera. Don't activate the skills for the skins. It's going to ruin your game. Also, please never activate the mounts, because for a racing game, it's going just to ruin everything, okay? It's a big no, okay, guys? So just to let you know that part. And yeah, let's move now to the actual practical part, okay? To set up the rules, we are going to use this specific part of the menu on the top. As you see, this is going to be called the developer tools. Will allow you to create the triggers, the scripts, and most important, to set up the rules for your game. First, we are going to choose the time for it. Let me explain why. Because with this, and moving forward in the presentation, or moving backwards to this specific part, we want to create a space station. In your case, you can choose anything else, but this is going to create the ambience for that. So let me show you an example. If I want to create a space station, if I choose midnight, it's going to look like the space, and it's going to give a darker ambient to your map. As an example, if you want to use a medieval game, you can use anything around 15, which actually is going to give you a good color. If you want to create, I don't know, a polluted play game like it's a Toxic City or something similar, you can use 18 and it's going to look a polluted sky. So that's going to provide you a quick, or a nice look to your map. So don't underestimate the daytime, okay? This one, the fixed timer, needs to be on because we don't want the time to move. Or whether just keep it in sunny because the raining and the other effects are going to slow down a little bit the connection. For the generate monster, it needs to be off, okay? Please, and this is very important, it's not funny to have a game in which actually are some savages spawning around you and killing you each time, so please select this to completely off. Gravity, for my personal taste, and this specific game, we are not going to use it. But if you're going to use it, I highly, and this is a pro tip, guys, if you want to make the player feel that he actually can move a little bit faster and has more agility, use 8 instead of 1. When you start, you are going to have it on 1. if you switch it to 8, it's the player is going to feel more agile. It's going to jump a little bit more, so it's going to feel a little bit better for jumping. Also for long jumps like this one, the player is going to have like more distance to jump. So highly recommended to choose that one. Choose around 80. Falling damage switch needs to be completely off because we don't want the players to get damaged when they fall. Damage setup for cards completely off. That's not going to provide us any extra like setup unless you use cards. You can choose to use introduction. This is a good tool actually. I didn't see that much people use it, but it's interesting because with that you can let the player know the rules. Quick tips also, players don't like to read, so try to need to avoid using a lot of text. Try to use only one slide because you can choose here 4 slides, but players are going to be bored after the first one, so try to explain everything in the first slide, but using just one slide. I know it's a little bit hard, but I personally recommend that, okay? Oh, from the start, choose host opens. Important things, keep the joining gaming process on because if a player leaves from your card game, that another person will be able to access. And another important thing is that some of those players want just to keep playing. So yeah, just keep it on, okay? The timing, you need to keep it counting from 3. Don't move that because it's going to be not necessary. For the music, the only thing is be sure that you are going to use a music that is going to be fast for this kind of games because we don't want the boring music for the racing. It's going to make the player feels that something is slowed. Any racing game is about the speed, about going fast, so try to use a fast music, okay? Personally choose the one that it looks like a sport or new music. That's my personal test, but you can choose whatever you want. Minimum amount of players, once again, as I choose here on the presentation, I personally prefer to keep it right here on the rules. Just give me a second. In 2, because yeah, that's the best way to do it right now, according to my experience. Okay, for the game target, just again like here, like it's in the presentation, we are going just to keep it on completely off because we don't need it. Those probably you are going to have some different values here, but all of them needs to be 0 because that's the requirement from the system that I'm going to teach you. So remember, scoring settings, everything to 0, reach a goal to win, off, turn base off. This specific one doesn't matter, so don't worry for that. Polluted area needs to be off. Quit play mode, reset map. Don't, and for this game, don't do the do not reset map because it's going to mess up everything. Save player data. You can keep it off unless you know how to use it. I didn't recommend it because it's an advanced feature and it's not going to give us like any extra preferences or any extra features for now. For teams, once again, as I mentioned, I'm going to use no teams because that's the way I want to set up this game. But if you want to do a team racing game, it's going to be okay for you guys, okay? So don't worry for that. Choose whatever you want. If you want just to keep my same settings, choose no players, okay? And once again, skin skills in mounts, no and hell no, okay? So this is a quick look about how my personal settings for the player are going to be. Okay, so remember, placement permission. No, we don't want the player to place some blocks because it's a racing game. Use as permission, very important, needs to be on to allow the player to use the items. Destruction, oh sorry, it's just to allow the player to use some basic buttons and switchers, so it needs to be on. Destruction permission, off. Double jump, we don't want the player to jump because it's a card game, so off. Movable, of course, we need the player to move, so turn on. Can use items, needs to be on because the player will be able to use some items during the way. And okay, so yeah, let me show you again. Okay, so this is a quick look, so you can copy and paste all the setups. Remember, as audible, it needs to be off. can be injured off, can be defeated, needs to be off, can pick up items, needs to be off too, and can discard items, needs to be off. Why we cannot discard items? We don't want the player to be in the road, just dropping some items and other players to pick it up. Once again, and very important, I'm going to do this with exclamation marks. Don't summon any mount. Don't allow the players to summon mounts. And please set up the skills for the skins completely off, okay? We don't need that. Again, don't do it. I know that you want to do it. Don't do it. Okay, guys, so moving next, we are going to take a quick look for the map rules about the review ball. So review ball interval needs to be in the same. In 3, it's going to be okay. So we are going to give enough time to the player to recover. This one needs to be not set up in manually, needs to be set up in respawn automatically. So players are going to reborn in just 3 seconds. The protections, it's going to be good to have it in 5, that is the default one. The spawn point is going to be just the default. But the most important part of this is that we have to keep the death defeat penalty or the death penalty in keep items. That means that the player is not going to lose any item when he dies, because we are going to use those items to set up the player. So keep the items working, don't drop anything, okay? All right, number of lives, moving next, needs to be off. Display settings. Guys, I highly recommend you to keep most of them as default, unless you want to use any skill that involves invisibility. As I personally use invisibility, I'm going to just choose invisible for everything and don't show damage. But if you are not using like invisibility skills that I'm going to show you how to do it, it's very simple. Just keep it on, okay? About the health bar, as we are not going to allow the players to damage each other. It's not going to provide us any extra information, so completely off, okay? As we are not going to use a score on time, please turn off that one. That's going to be used. It's not going to provide us any extra help for it, so completely off, please. And yeah, version settings on this is very important, as we are going to create a skin system. In the view settings, we are going to choose back camera. So with that, the players will know that the skin has been changed. And yeah, they will be able to just check the new skill. For players attributes, we are going to change the health for the maximum. We don't want the player to die if anything happens. Why we are going to choose the hunger point around 70 instead of another number? Because I'm going to teach you how to do with the scripts in the 3rd or 4th class. A turbo system. That means that the player will be able to use a spacebar to create a turbo, and the turbo is going to consume the hunger. So the maximum that we are going to keep is 70. You can choose if you want to give more turbo to the player, but for now we are going to keep it in 70. For the next steps, we are going to keep everything in 0. And for the moving speed, we are going to switch it to a nice amount, okay? So probably you are going to have it in 10 as default. Switch it to 15 to just provide the player a little bit more speed at the beginning on the lobby, so they will feel like the game is starting very fast, okay? It's a minimal thing, but believe me that helps out the player to feel more comfortable when it plays. For now, we are not going to touch or manage or edit the other parts, because we are going to actually manage that later when we have more items, okay? And yeah, that's it. We have the basic setups rules for this game. Now we are going to start creating the circuits for your map. So we are going to just move to the part about planning your circuits. And it can be a little bit odd, guys, but for this, the best tool is an advanced tools that no one has in home. Just joking. We need a pencil or something similar that you can use to write, an eraser in case you have a pencil, and a piece of paper. That's it. What we need to do on this, we need to plan how we can do our specific circuit, okay? So guys, for this class, we are going to learn how to do a classic circuit, a classic track, is one of those in which actually you can complete some specific laps before winning. So your circuit needs to be circular, okay? What do I mean with circular? It doesn't mean that you can just do a circle. You can use any shape, but at the beginning needs to be connected with the end of the circuit. So as an example here, I'm truly sorry for my drawings. I'm not the best drawing. Okay, guys, but imagine that you are going to do a circuit. I personally choose the oval shape for the previous map that you see, but for this one you can choose anything. So as an example, you can choose a circuit that has some laps on it. Only important thing, guys, the beginning needs to be connected with the end. So let's say that the beginning is going to be here. Okay, remember this is something important. For the laps you in the planation, you need to have enough space for the players to turn. So you cannot do like a lap that is going to be very close like this one, because the players are going to be stuck on there. So just be sure that in the circuit, in the planation, you give enough space, okay? Also, very important, we are going to create 3 checkpoints. What does it mean? That there are going to be control points in which we want to make the player be sure that he actually needs to pass on there to complete the process. Thank you. Yeah, I know that I'm not the best drawing, okay? But yeah, okay. So my recommendation is we are going to keep one of the checkpoints, and I'm going to keep the checkpoints as a circles just in the middle of the track. Why? Because the players will be able to renew some items on there. Also, you can choose another two in between the other two. So be sure that almost you are going to have the same distance in between the different checkpoints. Okay. Um, you need at least 3 checkpoints to make the game work fine. My recommendation is not doing more than 3 because it's going to provide more work when you are going to set up this specific circuit. So yeah, let's keep it on 3, okay? So once you complete the process, we will be able to continue and start working directly with the real view of the track, okay? So as you see here, directly in my screen, it's like some steps ahead. As you see here, right here is the finish, and the start line is going to be this one, the one I'm just pointing here. Let me point it with something else, like this one. Okay, so that doesn't go as I think that it was going to do, but yeah, let me fix it for you guys. Okay, so as you see here, this is going to be the starting line. I think I do it too big. Okay, so this is going to be the starting line. So it's where we are going to start the race and where we are going to finish the race or renew the lap. For this, also we have some specific checkpoints that I'm going to mark on yellow. That is going to be this one right here, this one right here, and this one right here. And you are probably trying to guess why we are going to do some checkpoints. First thing, as I mentioned before, is a point in which actually players can restart if they fall or if they die in the way. So once we pass through the checkpoint, the players are going to just reborn or respawn on there if something happens. But also the most important things, the main reason why this is actually make it, is because with this system we are going to avoid the players to do some cheats. So just imagine that I'm here, just on the roads. Let me switch to miniWord to show you as an example. Yes, the event is for me. So yeah, guys, you only need to assist here. So moving here, imagine that we don't have those checkpoints. What is going to happen? So as we need to pass from in front of here to complete the lap, if we don't do the checkpoints, the players will be able just to do this. Oh, I do a lap, just move backwards and pass again, and yeah, I get another lap, and they will be able to cheat. With the checkpoint system, to be able to complete the lap, first they need to complete the 3 checkpoints. So that means that if the players comes here and try to do some cheat and return to the finish line to just give another extra point, is not going to be able to do it because the system is going to detect that the player doesn't cross through the second checkpoint and the third checkpoint. So that's the main thing about this, okay? So now that we know, guys, that you're already playing the circuits, we need to start to create the actual circuit, okay? So we have different ways to do this. Let me show you the different ones that I know and what will be the most effective to me. Once again, guys, that's personal preferences. So probably you are going to find out that it's better for you from doing it from any specific way. For my personal choice, oh, I almost died. Oh, yeah, actually I died. Okay, now I'm not going to die. So for my personal choice, I choose to create like the basic road here, like this, okay? So a road is composed by the next things. First, we are going to have a main road. So what I most of the times do is first create the main road by parts, okay? So imagine this is a rect or a line part. And in this one, I'm just going to create simple things. First, I'm going to create the road. Then I'm going to create or be sure that the players may fit on it, okay? So it's very important, give enough space to the player to move because on this one, as you see, there's not space for me. This is a personal preference, but as you see, I'm trying to move around and it's very easy to get to the sides. If we want to have better gameplay, try to just make enough space for the players. So I think 1, 2, and 3 blocks more is going to be enough space for the players. So let me fill this space with those. For this, you can use the terrain editor. It's going to be much, much faster, okay? Okay, guys, so we have a good, actually, size of the roads. Okay. Okay, yeah, check this. You can move freely. You don't have to worry about the space. You can turn. So it's going to be a good actually way to have it, okay? Next, I start a decoration, okay? So as an example, you want to use a line in the middle that will allow the player check look like it's actually a fast lane. And also another pro tip, guys, again, pro tips from Yayo. If you place something in the middle or some specific parts of the circuit with some lines or something that can give a player a reference about where he is looking, it's when the player moves, it's going to look that the player has more speed. So as you see, when I move around, those lines are going to be moving too, so I will have a better idea that I'm moving fast, because if you don't do it, probably the player is going to, just check this. If I move here, it doesn't look that much fast as if I move here, okay? Check this. Yeah, as you see, it has a better impression, okay? So first we have to first look for our roads. Then don't forget to create something around the sides, okay? Just to give the player a better look about how it is going to work. Okay, but let's do this. Okay, so probably I'm doing a mistake because I'm using the metal cubes, and those are not going to be easy to edit ones. I personally recommend it to use any other that actually you may edit very quickly. So I'm going to switch those for another block. Oh, I just left one, okay? So with the terrain editor, I'm going to select everything. I'm going to use this specific tool that is going to be the 6 modes. I'm going to select the metal ones and then I'm going to switch in the creative to the sand blocks. Why am I going to use the sand blocks? They're going to be easy to edit first. And yeah, I really love those, okay? So now we have like the first look for your roads. Don't worry, I'm going to teach you why we are not creating the full road now. But I'm just looking for the tool to change the color. Yes, this one. Okay, so for the color, let's choose. Okay, this one is going to be completely different to the map, the other map. I'm just showing you how fast you can create a tool. Oh, and that's why I hate this tool, the basic one. It's not very accurate, so sometimes you fail by creating it. And you need to switch the color again and fix some parts. But yeah, it's not going to take that much time. Change the color again, and let's start in the same point. Red, red, red color again, red color again. Okay, so we have the first look for our new roads. Okay, guys, so why I'm doing this instead of creating a full line and then create the circuit? Because with this, you will be able to use this as a blocks. What I mean as a block, thinking Lego blocks, it's something that you can use to just create the line fast. So as an example, I'm going to select the roads and I'm going to just hit here on copy with this specific tool that is going to be the third option. And then I'm going to select the 41 that is paste. And with that, you are going to speed up the process because as you're using this as a Lego, yeah, as a Lego blocks, as you see here, we continue the space and we don't have to repeat all the word again. So important things, be sure that the first part of the line that you're going to create, the first part is going to be very good and it's going to be with the model that you want, and right after that you can start compose your own road with that one. For the example, I'm just going to create a small one. We don't need to actually create a big road because it's just an example, but for you guys, remember that you have to take the time to do it, okay? As you see here, there are some mistakes that I made, but actually you can leave it like it is. It's not a problem. It's not going to have a major problem. Be sure that the finish or the start part of your pattern, the pattern that we are going to create, is going to match with the end. So as you see, I started with a red block and I finish with a white one. So when I place the other one, it's going to start with the red and it's going to continue with it, okay? So now we are going to use the same technique for all the other parts of the map. So as an example, we want to create a curve, right? Something to turn the player, okay? So we are going to take this one. Oh no, let me take a little bit more. Yeah, just to the half. Okay, now let me copy and paste here. No. Okay. So now we have this specific extra part of the way. We are going to do just we are going to move it, okay? So we are going to just do the corners. So we are going to create a line here that is going to be the reference line. So if we put it right here, like I put it on there, it's going to be strange because it's not going to look like a curve, it's just going to look like something that is being cut off, okay? So we need to just increase the range that is going to be removed. So instead, once we place one here, we are going to place two here, three here, four here. So it's going to look like this. Just give me a second here to have it. Okay, so two here, two here. Okay, and we are going to start doing the process up the other way too. So it's going to start with two, Then it's going to move 2 blocks and then 2 blocks. Okay, guys, so give me a and and yeah, you need to be sure that looks like a curve on here, and just delete the part that comes up over it. So yeah, let's delete it. Okay, so we have the first part to create this one. I think it needs a little bit more of work on it. Let me do it like this. Okay, so we are reducing to keep more like a oval shape, like a real curved one, because right now it doesn't look that much good. Okay, so it looks a little bit more or better. Probably we need to, yeah, just delete here a little bit more. And all right, guys, so, oh, sorry, I fell. Okay, I died. Don't die, guys. That is actually a noob. It's too noob to die when you are actually playing on creative mode. Truly sorry for that, guys. But yeah, sometimes that things happens. Okay, so be sure that you're not going to die. Okay, and yeah, we are marking just how our curve is going to look. We are going to just avoid the pliers to fall down by placing those blocks like this. As this is a curve, it's going to start here. So I'm going to delete this part. All right. Once more, guys, be sure that it's going to look great. And yeah, you almost got it. So you have a curve here. Okay, so you have the curve code that is going to join the two different ways or sides of the road. Okay, remember to give this a good look. For this you can use the same colors or any of the blocks. Remember that we have a specific block for this one that I create. Let me show you. Okay, I already have it here. So you can give an extra cool look if you place those blocks that are going to point to one side. They are going to provide you that look that is actually making the plier turn around, okay? Remember, for this you can be very creative. You can use transparent blocks, you use translucent blocks or animated blocks. It doesn't need to be the same. You can use arrows or you can use just an advertent or like a warning sign just to let the player know that he needs to be turned on. And yeah, what is important? Okay, once you finish your line, you will be able to have different models. So let me show you how. Okay, so once you select all the curve, we are going to just place it right here. So we are going to do again copy and paste. So once again, first pressing copy and then paste. And yeah, that's it. So just try to get the same health of the road. Put it on. And yeah, and now you are guessing, well, that doesn't even match here. Don't worry, we are in our way to complete it. So once we select it, we are going to check. It seems that is on the same health, so that's going to save us some time. For this, you are going to use the 5 one, okay? So the 5 mode is to rotate mode. We can just rotate or move this around. So if I press this one time, voila, we have the other side of the curve. So just by creating one block, one group of blocks here and one block of here we have almost most of the parts of the road. So as you're guessing, we are only going to use those two different parts to construct our fast lane, okay? So in here, let me show you, we also can move this block around and you can check by moving those specific axes how it's going to end. So we want to have this right here. We hit end and yeah, we have the other side. So let me show you that right now it's starting to have the basis for your road. Also remember that you can use here another kind of floor. It doesn't need to be suspended in the earth. That's on your own test, okay? So let me join this one and let me join the other two to the main road, okay? Okay, so we joined the first one and we are going to join the second one. Okay, guys. So we are going to do a question time. Okay, guys. So I want to know in the comments if some of you guys know how we are going to do to create the other side of this specific route. We are going to just make a specific one that is going to be the same, but just look into the other side. So to their, yeah, it's like just flip it. So I'm going to provide a personal code, not the one that we see before for mini bins. I'm just going to create a personal one for the one to let me know how we are going to create the other side of this road. Yeah, that's correct. We are going to turn around, copy, and move it. So let me show you guys. It's pretty simple. As you see, we are just going to save a lot of time with this modular testing. And you create almost any road that you want with this. You can create an oval shape or another shapes. The important thing is create the direct parts and also create just the turn parts, the curves. Okay, we are going to wait for the miniware to respond. It's taking a little bit. All right, and yeah, now that we have this specific part copied and pasted, we are going just to go ahead, select everything, and we are going to flip it. By flip it, again, as Ben says, we are going to just click on here and select 1 and 2. And that's it. Let's see how it works. Okay, so now we have the two sides. It's facing each other. And we are going to create some small points in between them. But for now, let me show you. So as you see, it's a little bit strange. It's not fitting well. So we are going to move one of them to one side. And I think on this one it's going to be okay. And yeah, now the line fits. So as you guess in here, because as you see on the line, the easiest ways now will be just to copy this specific part of the roads and paste it here and then turn it around to just get the sides too. Let me show you how we're going to do it very quickly, but I just want to be sure how many spaces are going to take just to avoid to do some extra job. For this, I'm going to present you this tool. Probably most of you guys, if you already have played this specific game for a long time, a mini word, so you know this tool. This tool will allow you to measure the distance between 2 points. By this, you can check the altitude. It's 6 here. And on here is going to be 7. That's why the first mistake. So we need to increase the health on this one once. So for doing this, just select the same tool again. Do the same job. And we are going to move it just with the 5, and we are going to increase 1. Now we have to wait a little bit until the map responds. It's taking a little bit. I think it's because we have actually too many programs open. Most of the time it's not going to take that time, okay? When you are normally playing. And now let's take, here is, let me see. The coordinates are 4 and -1. Let me think here, I'll check here. Coordinates are going to be, okay, I found, so it's 0. We need, instead of -1, we have to move it 1 block to one side, okay? Also, if you were able to check the map, you are going to notice that now the map starts looking like a circular circle. So let me do it again. 5. Then we are going to move it. I think it's this one. Oh yeah. No, it's but the other side. And yeah, it's done. Okay. So yeah, we are going to copy and paste now. It thinks that now will be fixed. Let me check here. Now it's supposed to match. Yeah, 23 spaces, okay? So what we are going to do here is we are going to take 16 spaces, not enough. 19 spaces, not enough. 22 and 23. So we are going to take that amount of our main road here. Then again, 3 to copy. 4 to paste it. We're going to wait until miniWord shows us. And we are going to what we are going to do is just to turn around this to one side to avoid to create again everything from the beginning. So for this, again, select the number 5, that is to rotate. Choose one, then select, and now you have it. So now we have the right side. The only thing that left is to move it here and just fit it on there, okay? Remember also that if you're creating a big circuit, you can just keep those specific parts separated. So you will be able to copy and have a backup in case you change something, okay? Yeah, and now let's start by moving. So I think it's going to be the C1, okay. So the good thing about this tool is it's going to allow you to see what exactly you're going to do. Okay, so yeah, that's the space. If I'm the wrong guys, and let's see what we done. You're going to wait. And it's done. So the health match, the sides match. And okay, so now we are going to use the same thing. We are going to hit 3, then number 4. Then we are going to be a little bit far from the point. With this, guys, you can set up the distance in which actually you are going to set up the road. And also you can use this to just use as a Control-C on your computer that allows you to return to the last changes. So that's very important in case we did something wrong, we will be able to change it, but we are not going to fail this time. And all right, so it's almost starting to look like a road. Remember that I just choose a small one because we are just doing an example, but you can actually use yours. So just to testing, I'm just checking if I have enough space to move around, and hell, I actually have it. So yes, the first part is almost ready, okay? So this is the first part, and I recommend one because this one will allow you to keep the control completely of your road. Another way to do it is going to be like this one, okay? So this is another technique. you're going to use the same tool, but instead of using the select mode, you're going to use the brush mode. To switch between it, you only need to hit here, as you see. We are going to select in these tools the planar one. This will also allow us to just select the different shapes that we have. As you see here, we can change the radius to the amount that you want. As once again, be sure that the player is going to have enough space. On filter, you need to hit and choose on the custom block that we made, select the distance so you are going to be able to see what you're doing. And yeah, by clicking, you are just completing the roads. So what will be the benefits of doing like this or doing like the other? The first method that I show you at the beginning may look a little bit slower, but at the end is going to have less work because you already complete all the decorations. While with this one, you are going to create the base for the circuit much faster, and you can create like a more organic view for it. But later you will have to come here and start creating all the corners or all the decorations around. So I'm not going to go deeper on this one, but you actually have an idea about how it works. So with this, you create the road, then you need to fix some details about it, okay? So just by checking, obviously I didn't follow my sketch because this is the class. Yeah, just to remind you the sketch here. But we have the starting line, okay? Just to mention something, this is not completely necessary. You can just use the same pattern on the sides to the turning part. Also, sometimes you will know that in this part probably you need to give it a more like a curvature look by just doing this. And now it looks much better as a curve. That's on your actually personal taste too. Okay, but some important things, guys. We are going to have the circuit finish or the planation finish. Okay, so here in the map you can check, you can see that the map is actually completing the first steps that I mentioned. The finish line is going to be the starting line, so we are going to start with those points. Okay. Okay, guys. So let me know. Oh yeah, we almost over. Okay, so we left 15 minutes. So let me show you the last thing about the circuit. Remember that we need to place just the starting points and the ending points, and then we are going to review some maps. Okay, don't worry, guys. I'm going to review some maps on your end. Just I'm going to ask you for your UIDs, and I'm going to take a quick look. Okay. We need to make the players know where it's going to start the road. So on that, you need to remove the basic decorations from the middle because that may confuse some players. Okay, yes, I see that now you're able to see it. So yeah, yeah, it's just a cool texture that you can use. And yeah, that is how it looks as the basic one. Okay, a basic storyline. Another important thing is that you need to have enough space here for the players to spawn. We cannot use like too small space because the players are going to be stuck on here, okay? So be sure that the players have enough space to run. And yeah, that's it. As you see, this is the phase for creating the circuit. Then we are going to enhance the map with some details, okay? A little bit of time. Actually, it's one of the most time killing parts. But yeah, that's how it looks. So, as you see here, the main point, the starting point, needs to be very like it needs to be very easy to see and very clear for the players. Also, we are using the texture. This instead of that, the checkpoints are going to be also being able to be seen, but they're going to be not that much geometric like the other one, okay? And another important things, guys, if you can create a texture that can show the players in which way is going to be the race, that's very important because most of the players, when they respawn, they are not going to stay like, oh, we need to follow that. They are going to just see back and try to move back. So if you have something that can stop the players to get back and just be sure that the players are going to be in the right side, it's going to be much faster. For the enhancing details, as you see here, I use different textures. Um, and I also create some specific details over the road so the players make look it's going to make seem clear the path. Okay, so as you see, it's going to look much closer to a racing game. It has, if the game has those specific details. Okay, check this. Check this and check the checkpoints are important, but not that much important as the other one. Okay, I will help you or show you how you can create something very important, and it's going to be the areas. The areas are going to be the spaces in which the player is going to activate the triggers that we are going to learn for the next class. To go further than that, I'm just going to show you. So here on the main menu, you have a specific small button on the top. It says tool mode, and it has, if you are playing in computer, it has a letter and a number. If you're not, probably you only have the option to push it. So for computer, you can press function 3, the key that is in the top, or just hit on there, and it's going to switch to the tool mode. The tool mode will allow you to place some locations and some areas. Important things, we are going to select the area mode. That is going to be the first one, and we are going to create one area for each one of the spawn points. So the first one is going to be starting on the top and ending on the bottom of the area. And we are going to do the same. Remember, the health is very important. We need to keep at least 3 of health just to make it work fine. We're going to do the same for each checkpoint, so that's why I'm saying you that the best way to do it is to have it at max 3 checkpoints. If you have more than that, probably the player, well, not the player, that's not going to affect your players, but you are going to have to do more work, and it's going to be just a little bit complicated, okay? Once we create the 3 different areas, we are going to be sure that we are going to rename the 3 areas, okay? So for this, you only need to hit this small button on the sides. That is going to show you the different regions or areas, depending on your language, is going to have a different name. Hit on that, hit on rename. The first one is going to be called spawn or checkpoint. One, and also let your triggers know that is the initial point. Confirm, and let's move to the second one. The second one is going to be the checkpoint 2. The third one is going to be the checkpoint 3. Finally, we have the last one that is going to be the checkpoint 4. Okay? And yeah, that's pretty much it for the areas. With that, we are going to be sure that when the player passes through, the player will be able to just respawn under, okay? Yeah. Very important. Now that we're almost finishing, we are going to select here the location. And for the location, we are going to choose new locations. Lazy for that too. But at the time I learned that it's going to be much easier and less work and less effort to give the names at the beginning. But yeah, you don't have to do that much. And finally, just to finish this class, we are going to create another important thing. And what's going to be the important thing? It's going to be the points. So let me explain how it works. When a player passes through here, we are going to set a spawn point. That means that if the player falls, or if the player dies in any area, before the other spawn point is going to just be reborn here. So that's why we are going to create a point here. Be sure that it's not just in the floor. Take like 1 or 2 blocks over it, and be sure that it's behind this area before crossing that area. And yeah, place it. Oh, I was not using the correct one, so it's the number 2. So remember, guys, it's going to be the number 2, not the number 1. The number 2 is going to be the mode for creating the locations. You are going to notice, because it's are going to be orange and not blue. And we are going to do just the same. We're going to create one before the other. And we need to create also 3 of them, okay? And what we are going to do, just press again in this specific tool, switch to locations, and we are going to rename it. I'm just going to follow your advice, and I'm going to be a little bit lazy for placing the names, so I'm going to just place it like spawn 1 in. Correct? Let's do the second one. Spawn 2. The third one is going to be spawn 3. Remember that you will need to remember the name. And spawn 4. And that's it. We have all the initial part for continuing with the next class, okay? So, for the next class, we are going to start using some triggers to just complete the system and make this checkpoint system be functional. With that, you're going to have all the functions like I already have in the other one. Let me show you very quickly how it works here in my system, okay? For this, I'm going to edit my own map. 1 second, and it will allow me to play. So yeah, guys, as you see here, the game, actually, if I pass in front of me here, it's not going to do anything. It's not going to give me a lap or anything unless I complete the first lap. If I just fall down from the roads right here, it's going to reborn before that checkpoint. If, by the other hand, I complete and pass this specific line for getting the checkpoint, if I fall down, I'm going to just reborn on there instead of on the finish line. And yeah, also if I fall around this area, it's going to reborn right here, okay? And finally, as you see here, even if I pass from this one, that is going to give me an item. If I return to the finish line, I won't be able to cheat because it's not going to count a lap. You see? No laps. But in the other way, oh, fuck, I'm going too much time. So if I complete the full line here, I will be able to pass friends, and I get a lap. And that's why we are going to create that specific system. So guys, the class, oh no, don't worry, it's not going to be that hard.